Advanced transcription number 33, speed 100 words per minute, start. I have said so, I have not denied it. But it is not a taxation measure in the ordinary sense of the term. If we had not done it, we could not have taken it up. If we had waited for bringing in a mayor in the house at that time, what were we to do for the interim period? Could we have allowed it to be passed on to the consumers for 2 months and then levy it again? It would have been real taxation in the middle of the year. But that is not so in this particular case. More so because, as I have said earlier in my speech, this is an ad hoc reduction. The condition of the agreement is that if after examination by the cost accountants it is found that what we have taken is not justified by costs, we will have to give them a rebate. If we find at the end that their costs are still less, we will be entitled to a greater reduction. It would not have caused any harm, but if we had to return anything, then it would have been very difficult to return it if it had been passed on to consumers, because in that case we would have to give a rebate. The rebate would have been given by getting something more from future consumers, and the present consumers would have got all the advantages, and I do not think that it would have been a fair proposition. It is therefore that after a great deal of deliberation we decided to do this. The question was asked as to why we took so much time from the 20th of May to 30th of June to promulgate that ordinance. That shows that we did not do lightly, and we gave great thought to it. We examined all the sides of the question before we came to that conclusion. We do not want at any time to take resort to ordinance to levy taxes or for any such purpose. An ordinance is deliberately provided for in the Constitution and nobody objects to it. No government would be possible if there were not such a provision. It is therefore there for use. Whether the use is justified or not is the main question. Was there an emergency or not emergency of the type supposed when this article was introduced in the Constitution? In view of the circumstances which I have explained, I feel that the government would have failed in its duty if it did not promulgate that ordinance and mop up this profit which would otherwise have been frittered away and the consumers would not have been benefited. It is therefore that this ordinance is fully justified, and as we have come to the House with the bill, there could be no argument that we are trying to get it away from the House and that we have got all the respect for the House which we should have. That argument therefore does not hold at all. As I said, in the course of the same argument, there is no question of a large number of consumers losing anything in this particular matter, because really speaking, the consumers would not have been benefited if we had not mopped up this reduction. The price reduction would have been very little. Some of those who are owners of cars and use them for their own purposes would have certainly benefited to some extent, but these people can afford to forego this benefit in the larger interests of the country. The large number of people would not have benefited at all. It is only a few people who would have accelerated their profits. Is that the intention of the house, that more profits should go to people even where they did not expect more profits? They could not have reduced the prices or the rates of tickets. Therefore, it was considered necessary and appropriate that this reduction should not be passed on. I was intrigued by the argument advanced by my honorable friend. He has said that if this extra amount that has come to the government is earmarked for exploration of oil, it would be some injustice done to the oil companies, and it would perhaps hamper my work when I am going outside. I do not know whether it is a suggestion thrown out, and I do not think that the oil companies would be so unreasonable as to make a grievance of a factor about which no grievance can be made. The oil companies have agreed to this reduction because they find that the arguments advanced by the government are such that they cannot be denied and that they have to be accepted. We have also accepted, therefore, that if after examination by the cost accountants we are not correct in our assumptions, we will give a rebate to them, but if on the contrary the reduction is justified and more reduction also is justified, then we will be entitled to more reductions. Then, sir, it is a matter of great concern that house rents in some places are very high, and the railway employees should be give house rents at low rates. Also, I think there is need for an increase in the railway checking staff. If the railway checking staff is increased, ticketless travel will go down, provided that you make it worthwhile for the railway staff to carry out their duties. I say that some reward should be given to those members of the checking staff who successfully launch prosecutions against ticketless travelers. I think, sir, if they have a prospect held out to them that in case they are able to catch ticketless travelers, they will be given some reward, they will be more active. Then, sir, there is no room for self-complacency so far as our second-class travelling facilities are concerned. I gratefully recognize that the railway minister is doing his best, but I think that this can be improved and should be improved.